All right, we're back with Real Marketing Talk. We've got Dan Natale here today. He's going to talk about digital marketing. I think, Dan, SEO is something that has come up a million times in the last week. I would love to know, just be off the cuff as possible here. If I'm a firm in this space and I want to improve my keyword rankings, how do I do that for financial services right now?
So I think it's really important. So you're 100% right. I mean, SEO has been around for forever, not forever, but for a good 25 years now, at least, or ever since search engines really became an important way for users to find new products,
Mhm.
services, and information. And I think it's important, like in 2025, um, that it's more than just ranking for keywords, right? It goes beyond that.
Mhm.
Um, you really have to think about it as the entire user experience rather than trying to rank for individual keywords. Though still very important, um, it's sort of like a mindset shift. And instead of always worrying about, do I have the right content on my site, which again, hugely important, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, in a second. Um, think about some things like, are you answering a user's questions or queries, right? People are out there looking for information. Are you doing that quickly? Are you doing that accurately? And are you doing it from a place of authority? It for especially for financial services firms, um, you know, the expertise and the authority of the person giving an answer or providing content on any given page is extremely important. So it's not just, Jess Flynn writing a blog post about, interest rates. It's about an expert answering a very specific question to a user's query. And that's sort of like a very abstract, overarching theme. But, fundamentally, when I think about it, um, I think, what can you do for the user first? And then everything sort of cascades and flows from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I could ask you a million questions, but the thought process of, well, I'm a CFP. I provide holistic advice. Our firm is very, um, we have a robust wealth management offering. We serve clients multi-generational. Those are the words that I think a lot of people use, and it's accurate to describe their firm, but it doesn't land on sort of a differentiated message or a keyword that's particularly special or unique to them. And so, do you have any advice for firms, whether it's a fintech or an RIA, that would help them stand out? Because again, the way that you approach SEO, right? There's so many different strategies behind it, and the cost to actually compete in this space can be very expensive very quickly, right?
Yeah, particularly if you're talking about paid options, right? Like pay-per-click advertising or other forms of search engine marketing, which are
Hmm.
all like obviously viable solutions that we see folks do every day. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it is expensive. And so, to get to your point about standing out, in my mind, obviously brand is very important, of course, from a pure marketing perspective. But I go back to this thought and this idea of, not so much being a differentiator, but being a thought leader or providing valuable answers to people that are looking for them, right? And that's how you do it. And what do I mean by that? Well, um, I suppose it would be easy enough for a firm to do a retirement planning one-on-one sort of guide on their site, or to say that, oh, they specialize in retirement income strategies, or even in the case of a fintech, oh, we provide this great platform or solution for financial advisors. Like, yes, of course, you do probably need to say all of those things, but if you really want to stand out, you do really need to do some research, like interview your clients, interview your prospects. What information are they searching for online? Like, we do keyword research all the time, search query research all the time. And what are the specific areas in which you can stand out, position yourself as an authority or as a leader on a topic? And then can you provide that information in either a written format, video format, a variety of different content formats on your website. That's how you stand out. It's really answering those very specific questions, answering them thoughtfully, answering them with authority, but also making sure, right, that you continue to position yourself as either the expert or somebody highly knowledgeable on the topic.
Yeah, so I heard you say again, there's a strategy from ground zero, right? You think about who you are from your messaging, work, your brand, who represents you, but then like diving deep into a few very specific areas and consistently. So it's not like I built a page, I used this keyword throughout, I'm good.
Yeah, I think consistency is key. Fresh content is sort of the thing to think about there. So consistency, if you're continually publishing or posting or adding content about a particular topic, um, it's going to get um, continually indexed by Google. And what you don't want to do is have a really great guide on your site that you wrote in 2019 about, some very specific topic and then never touch it again or never update it. Um, Again, ignore the search engine for a minute because, again, stop thinking. I think it's really important to stop thinking about what am I doing to rank or what am I going to do to impress an algorithm, but more so, how am I serving individual users and people? And I need to provide them with consistently fresh and updated content. As again, things change, particularly in financial services all the time. Either approaches change, market conditions certainly change a lot. And so you always need to make sure that you are updating your content and consistently publishing either new content or making sure that your sort of big winning content that is out there does not become stale or outdated. Because not only does a user ignore something that's over 5 years old, a search engine will too. And it'll have a cascading effect on your user experience, and it will send plenty of signals to the Google search algorithm that, hey, this content isn't it anymore.
So to somebody who's been posting blogs, let's say they posted 6 blogs last year, they didn't see any leads coming from this, they didn't see any traffic. They're going to stop doing these blogs. What's the downside of that strategic decision?
Well, the downside is like I would sort of even reframe the premise, right, in the first place. The idea that, oh, I'm going to see immediate leads from a blog post, or that I've done a handful of blog posts and should now have 10,000 visitors to my website, right? Like that, the premise in and of itself is flawed. And, we hear this quite a bit. So I think it's a good question. To first answer your question, keep at it. Don't stop doing it because if you're going to stop, if you're not seeing a ton of traffic, you're really not going to see any traffic if you stop
Yeah,
doing it.
right.
The second point is you need to stop thinking about it that way. Like, get out of this mindset. Oh, I'm going to post some blogs because I want some leads, right? Or oh, I want to really drive my organic traffic, so I'm just going to throw some blogs up on my No, think about this. How am I providing prospects, current customers, users, useful information? How am I positioning myself as a thought leader with relevant, helpful, keyword helpful content to help somebody reach their goal or answer a question they may have? And so, once you get out of that mindset of, oh, I'm just posting blogs because I think I'm going to rank in the keywords better, that is certainly an added bonus, but it's not the right mindset. And it's always super important to think about how you're being helpful, how you're answering your user's question, and how you're positioning yourself as a resource in a particular area or field.
I love that. So, final question. So, we've talked about website and ranking for keywords on a website. Does LinkedIn contribute to that at all? Posting articles, social posts, how does that work?
So it contributes to it. Obviously, you could potentially drive traffic right from a link on LinkedIn to your website. That's sort of fundamental or no brainer. But it's also sends a strong social signal to to a search engine that, like, hey, there is value to this page and to this content. And so, not to get too technical or into the weeds, but like Google is looking for things like, are there a variety of outside resources, platforms, websites, all pointing to your site? Is your site receiving traffic from different channels? Email, social, referring websites, of course, direct traffic. When you think about sort of what the magic formula is, um, that is certainly part of it. So in and of itself, just posting something on LinkedIn and driving traffic, like in your mind, think about it, that accomplishes that goal. But
Mm-hmm.
over the long term, as you continue to drive traffic from multiple sources, that is going to send a very strong signal to a search engine like a Google, like Microsoft, that this is a an authoritative relative site, and that therefore we should be ranking it higher in this particular area and for
Mm-hmm.
this particular keyword or whatever the case may be. But I just want to be clear, like in and of itself, just doing it is not like, oh wow, we did one post, we're going to rank all of a
We're
sudden.
good. Yeah. So I heard you say, a strategy itself, number one, right? Build the keywords and the message first. Make sure that you know what those things are that you want to be known for and start to put out there in the world. Be consistent in how you put that out there. Whether you decide on 10 things or 3 things, at least be consistent in posting. But it does require extensive additional, you can't just do blogs, right? You have to do other things. Leverage your partnerships, your relationships, link off to people, let them link back to you. Hopefully you grow your brand presence and people link to you organically. That would be fantastic. Make sure your content doesn't get stale. You put dates on things. Your blogs have dates. Make sure you're consistently going back, updating, refreshing the content, republishing, changing the date. If it's 2019, look at 2025. And then the last piece is it takes time, right?
Right.
This
It's so
isn't
important to keep that in mind.
This
It
isn't
does.
like, hey, we're going to start it in January 2025, and by March, I'm going to rank number 1 for this word.
Right. It's important. You're building long-term foundation, right? This is the long game. And again, if it makes anybody feel better or helps them think about it, is like ignore the ranking part. That's going to be an added bonus, and that quality organic traffic is going to be the reward for that.
Mm.
If you take the mindset, no, we are setting out to help and be a helpful resource, again, to prospects, customers, just visitors from the internet, and take that mindset and see it as an ongoing exercise or program. You're going to reap the rewards over time, but it is not something that happens overnight in 2 weeks or a month or even 2 months.
Fantastic. All right, Dan, I'm going to let you get back to it, but I appreciate your insights today. I know our audience did too. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.